Hello and welcome. Let's look at Pakistan's efforts to tell the world that India needs to come to the table, talk about Kashmir. And India has added a new dimension to an already loaded list of issues between Pakistan and India, and that is the Indus Water Treaty. And now, Pakistan, which is on a mission to tell the world that India really needs to come to the table, is also talking about the Indus Water Treaty. So, this Indian design of holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance adds to Pakistan's list of issues that it needs to tell to the world that it needs to be resolved quickly. On the other hand, the Indian diplomatic offensive, it has a hideous agenda where India, one, is saying that Pakistan is a backer, supporter of terrorists in the region, and all terrorist attacks can be traced back to Pakistan, while this is not the case. Where is the evidence linking Pakistan to the Pahalgam attack? The attackers appear to have disappeared in thin air. A heavily militarized zone, the most heavily militarized zone on earth, where 7 lakh Indian troops are present, could not find the attackers, could not present any trace. The Indian law enforcement agencies appear to be paralyzed on that front. Despite that, India is saying that its philosophy of skewed philosophy of the new normal, which is it can attack Pakistan without any shred of evidence. That is what it is harping upon, and that is what it is been campaigning. So India's agenda is to steer clear of the dialogues that Pakistan is emphasizing upon. In the latest effort during Wednesday's discussions at Capitol Hill, the delegation, which is led by Bilawal Bhitto Zardari, told congressmen about the implications and the consequences of keeping Kashmir at the back burner. And they're also highlighting now, which is in the baggage added by the Indus Water Treaty, that it needs to be talked about. India cannot do it and cannot keep it in abeyance. So now the question arises, who is going to make India come to the table? So that effort by Pakistan is very clear that it is trying, one, very hard to tell the Americans that U.S. President Donald Trump needs to follow up on his statement regarding Kashmir, that Kashmir needs to be resolved. But we have seen U.S. President's statements on at least 6 different occasions regarding Kashmir, but that has ceased now. There is a pause on that front. So Pakistan needs to really step up its efforts regarding Kashmir and Indus Water Treaty. It is important to note how Pakistan has succeeded in telling the world that India is an aggressor. It has exercised restraint in the face of aggression, in the face of airstrikes by India. But because Pakistan's policy has not been to, one, escalate the matter towards a nuclear clash. Second, it has responded to whatever India has done. So Pakistan is now trying to tell the world that India needs to be pacified. One, India needs to be brought to the table, and Pakistan will only be able to do that if Pakistan make the world realize that Pakistan has enough muscle to do that. To prove that example, we've got to look at what is happening in Palestine, where at the UN National Security Council, 15 countries, the permanent members, sat there presenting a resolution for allowing aid to Gaza, presenting a resolution for a permanent, lasting ceasefire in Gaza, but that has not happened. U.S. has vetoed it. We see a more powerful player in the region, which is Israel, which has muscle, and that's where the U.S. weight lies. So Pakistan needs to add to its muscle as well. I think Pakistan would be able to succeed in telling the world that India is an aggressor and it needs to come to the table and talk about all the issues by exposing India, by exposing India's policies of creating unrest in Pakistan through Balochistan and through the TTP. TTP has been taken care of in that trilateral meeting in China, but Balochistan is still open. And if one were to make a case out of this, you can present Kulbhushan Jadhav as a very strong example of India's interference in the region. Second, the diplomatic means. Pakistan needs to tell the world that it can take similar actions which the world has seen that India has taken. Pakistan can resort to those. But yes, as Pakistan says, blocking of water, diversion of water, or building some sort of infrastructure in violation of the Indus Water Treaty is an act of war. Pakistan needs to double down on that as well. I guess unless the Pakistan projects its point of view from a position of strength, India will not be persuaded to come to the table for talks, as India's entire emphasis on telling the world, look, Pakistan is a terrorist state. Look, Pakistan is an aggressor, and we will not talk to an aggressor, and we will follow up on our policy of this new normal where we can attack Pakistan.